Well, I've recently done a deep dive on PTSD, so I can explain it to you in simple layman's terms. And it is what is wrong with me. um, the cool thing about this is now I know exactly what I need to overcome, break through, rise above. So, the four things that, first of all, there's complex PTSD and PTSD. PTSD is the person who experiences a traumatic event as an adult, a fire, someone shell shocked from a terrifying experience. Uh, it's the kind that soldiers get, as well as people in the world who are traumatized from other things. Right? These are fully formed adults' brains that are traumatized, and it's often, and one event, right? So that's PTSD. Now, complex PTSD is when it's often repeated, but when trauma happens to a child's brain, a brain that's not fully formed yet, and but in either case, the ensuing results, the symptoms are the same, and they're easy to understand if you've got it. You're like, oh, that's me. Anyway, so the first one is remembrance. Flashbacks. They like to use the word intrusive. There's never really a good time for a flashback on terror, so I guess it's always intrusive. But whatever. So that's the first criteria is remembrance of that, and so then that informs you of all the things in your life that you have flashbacks on that were traumatizing, and helps you understand perhaps that you've been experiencing PTSD from other things at other times in your life, and so that's informative. And then, okay, so the second one is bad feelings from that flashback, that remembrance, anxiety, depression, feeling like you're dead inside, which is what happens to me often. I just feel dead inside, and so anyway, that's the second criteria. Those bad feelings that are associated with the flashback, the remembrance. Third is avoidance, and that is what's wrong with me. It's my biggest problem. And I've been describing it as like not having my wheels on the ground. They're spinning. I got thoughts. I got so much I want to do every day. And then I just spent a whole week not leaving my apartment, pretty much. So that's not moving me forward, right? But it's cool now that I see that for what it is. And it seems to me that that's probably the source of just about everybody's attention deficit disorder, right? All the people that have PTSD probably also have attention deficit disorder because of the PTSD, right? It's basically the big side effect. And that's avoiding all sorts of things. I think a great example of a person that we've seen practicing avoidance is the hoarder who's experiencing PTSD, because all those stories start with some trauma, right? And then they just stop doing everything. And when you stop doing everything, your house just piles up, right? And so that is a great example of somebody avoiding things, but also avoiding therapy. Now, for me, that's a little different. I'll never be avoiding therapy. I'll never believe in it. I can talk to friends if I need someone to talk to. I'll get more out of that talking to a fellow fire victim survivor is what the word I should use, but I mean, I think a victim is not a bad word. It's not wrong. So So yeah, that's avoidance, and another way of looking at it is just procrastination, right? But how many of us have become procrastinators because of perhaps some trauma, right? It really explains some procrastination stuff, probably for a lot of people. And then the fourth one is, are you on edge? Do things trigger you? And yeah, when I and the best evidence, some of the evidence of that, or one example, is when I see words, you know, just some asshole saying some rude shit, and I leave it up there because it's evidence of my, me just losing my shit, and it's all a side effect of the trauma, whether it's this or other things in life, maybe too, but that you get kind of on edge, and so and it's every time you see somebody like stupid disputes people have, road rage, neighborly disputes, it's just so crazy how people get sucked into some tiny little world where they get so pissed off or freaked out they end up doing something that harms somebody and then puts them in jail. But you can see that you can see how that could be you if you're not careful, right? Like I can get pretty. I was driving yesterday and I got pretty bothered by this terrible driver, and I eventually got rid of it. But for a little while there, I was pretty pissed off by this person, and that was just stupid. Like, why would I? But that's the on edge. That's the part where you're like, and that's why it's good that sometimes that I stay home, because if someone did want to, like, have an altercation with me, I might not stop myself from it. Like, I might not be as sensible as I would have otherwise been. But and then there's other things that trigger extreme anger and on edge behavior that I've noticed since the fire. So and with others. So that's the criteria. I'm pretty sure I meet it. And here's the interesting thing: there's these people on YouTube and wherever else that talk about, since I got my diagnosis, like it was some kind of favor to them or something, as if now they know who they are. But I'm not looking to go get a diagnosis. I'm not looking to tell people I have a handicap. I'm looking at it like these are the things I have to overcome and push through and rise above. And it's nice to identify those things, right? If they can be done to me, then I should be able to undo them, in my opinion. And with will, you can achieve anything, right? In this world, with this brain, you can do what you want, right, with yourself, and if you believe in it. So I believe whatever has affected me from the fire, I can undo, but it's real, and that's pretty. Anyway, and so, but that begs the question, right? These people that seem so happy to have gotten a diagnosis and all that stuff, like, is there some benefit? Is there some social benefit? It seems to me it would be more of a detriment, but are there funds for these people? Do you get Social Security money if you have PTSD? Like, what's the incentive to want to be diagnosed with a disorder, right? PTSD is, a post-traumatic stress disorder. Who wants to have a disorder, be told they have a disorder? Not me. I mean, I like to overcome this challenge, but I don't want to see it as any kind of permanent thing. But I think that's what some people might perceive it as. I don't know. But I'm learning anyway. And I've been avoiding making videos, or I've called it like a crisis of confidence, but it's really avoidance. Um, luckily, I'm in school, and that is forcing me to show up and not avoid. I have a very good self-discipline approach towards college. I show up to every class, I do every homework assignment, and that is just kind of in me. So that, or I do my best to achieve that minimum bar, and that's usually a lot of what it takes, right? And I know that, and so it's really good for me. It's like retraining my brain, going to school. So anyway, that is what there is to know about PTSD. Basically, from a layman. I'm no doctor, but I can listen and I can regurgitate and I can internalize in this case and understand it through my own experience. I can describe PTSD to you. But heck, it's all good. And gosh darn gee whiz, this is what happens to us. Sometimes we do this to each other, though, right? And we gotta stop traumatizing each other. The environment, fires, earthquakes, hurricanes, car accidents. There's enough out there that will just spontaneously traumatize us. Loss. Yeah. Do no harm. Do no crime. Unless the crime is women's reproductive health care or smoking some weed. Then break all the laws you can. Just don't get caught. Yeah. Do no harm, do no crime. Thanks for watching All Good Things and All Good Time. Go make the world a better place today. The world really needs that. All right. Aloha.